All right. Hello, friends and followers. Here with Kevin at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night again.
Sir, is
Tried
that too
going,
late?
yeah, tried going live today during the day, but nobody showed up. So I figured let's record it and then we'll post it. That actually gives us an opportunity to beep out some of the language and edit it out so it's politically correct. Because
Or you can have
God forbid we post something crazy.
AI gives you the answers you want.
I know, seriously, I got ChatGPT open in the background. It's literally not even me speaking. It's 11 Labs.
Yeah, you're actually out in Malibu right now.
I know, and there's a 10-second delay, so it's like I'm working in the background.
That's hilarious.
I know, it's pretty funny. Got live editors as we're speaking.
What's good, Dave?
Shit. So about a month in on this business, and in my old job, I used to run these monthly town hall meetings with the team. I'd basically get all the employees together, and once a month, we'd prepare a presentation and kind of talk through um, company initiatives, opportunities, things we're working on, as well as kind of reflecting on the previous month, the numbers and the sales and all of that. It was a much bigger organization, and so we had more things to report on. But all of that was more internal because obviously it was kind of like in the family. So I'd like to do the same thing, but kind of get it out into the client sphere. A, because we didn't really have many employees, and B is because I actually think doing this type of town hall publicly uh, gives potential customers, current customers, more of an insight into how this business operates, maybe a potential buy-in into us as people and ours as the product. Because I know, like myself, for example, the more I see transparency in the business, the more I buy into the brand.
Right.
Because you don't want to like deal with a faceless corporation, especially on a smaller side. The smaller the business, obviously, the more human it is. They say corporations are people, but they're not really people. However, a small business is definitely people because as a small business, it's very human reliant. And so, the more I generally like the people running the business, the more likely I am to give them their money or my money. And so I'm essentially trying to do the same thing.
I think that's a great idea. One of the things I love to do when I get whatever up and running is I like the idea of building a community around a product or a service, even,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that creates like a really solid customer base. It's really good for networking and also gives you like a really great in tune. You're closer to your customers, so therefore you're hearing what they're saying, and you can take that into account with the product you're making for them.
Yeah.
So it shows that you give a shit. It doesn't, and I think it's good on a customer level too, because uh, it's kind of funny, but even like
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo is kind of like known for, and this might cause some people might agree, some might disagree, but Nintendo is kind of known for, at least with certain games, listening to their customers.
Mm.
So like they put out a game and the people bitch about it, and it seems by like the next game or two they correct a lot of those issues. And I think that is why Nintendo can last in the days of Call of Duty and just like fast action games. So I really like that idea. And you're in such a niche community, that I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. It definitely it definitely helps people kind of understand who we are behind the business, and it also keeps me accountable because the other thing is, if I say these things out loud rather than keep them hidden, it kind of puts a responsibility on me to follow through on them. And we literally just talked about discipline because it's very difficult to keep once you drop off for some time for whatever reason. It's very difficult to kind of get back into the groove of things, and that goes for the gym, and that goes for podcast recordings, and that goes for kind of business operations too. um, and so talking about these things publicly almost forces you to be more disciplined because your reputation essentially is tied to being able to follow through on things you say. And so if I say them, it's it's much more of a responsibility on me to actually follow through on these things.
Yeah, hold yourself accountable.
For sure. So,
So you said
whoever,
you got secrets?
maybe, whoever's listening to this, definitely listen and keep me accountable, because I actually want to do all these things.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I'm going to share this presentation. Let's see if I can do that here. Okay, window, share. See what this thing's going to look like. Oh, shit, look at that.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, dude. I put a whole deck together. It's called
I'm
deck
hyped.
now. It's no longer a presentation.
I'm hyped.
Back in the day, it was called a PowerPoint. Now it's a deck. So you guys get to look at my deck pics.
It's funny
I
from
know.
the other day.
All right. So we're gonna do these monthly town halls, and I was gonna start with you know me, but I don't think the followers know who I am. So my name is David. Sometimes I'm called Russian Dave. I am a Masters 3 blue belt at Supremacy BJJ in Largo, Florida. Kevin is actually a brown belt at the same place. It kicks my ass daily, and if you follow my personal account, there'll be some videos of that happening.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime.
So for the past 20, maybe just under 19 years, I've been operating small businesses. The first one was my friend's. I worked there for about 12 years, and then I started my own, which I ran for 11 years. And then last year I sold it, and I started Trophy Wall. And so I started it I registered in December. Actually, I think in November. But really, from a sales perspective, I just started running it in February. So we're kind of a fresh new business. I've always considered myself as a product guy. I really like product. I've been in the product space for a long time, developing consumer products, business products, doing kind of manufacturing and sourcing and materials and production methods and quality control and all kinds of things. But running my own business for the past 11 years has really made me a born again people guy, because I think while you are a product business, it's very difficult to do it without proper people. And proper people, I mean people that help you along the way as your employees and partners, as well as your customers. And that's actually the reason to do this whole thing, is to kind of put my ear on the pulse of the customer and have a direct connection. And so I am a product guy, but I'm also a born again people guy. And feel free to stop me at any point to ask any questions you want.
Okay.
So, why? Remember, like the Matrix? It's the question that drives us Neo. Moment, when he's in the club and Trinity comes over and, they talk about why he's there and what he's doing, and it's the question. And so the proper question has always been for me, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I qualified? Why this? And so, as I said before, I've been running businesses for a long time. I've been making products for a very long time. I generally also like to notice problems that I have, and I'd like to create solutions for them. And so as I started competing, I noticed the problem because I couldn't find any proper wall mounts to hang my medals on. And so I started tinkering and essentially came up, after a bunch of iterations and testing, with what we know today as the mount and the mount light. And that's been the product. And, why me? Better question is, why not? Somebody has to do it. I seem to be competent at it, and so might as well get into it. And then why this? It's like, after I sold the business, it took me a couple of months to actually figure out what I want to do, because I was like so burned out from running that company that I wasn't even sure whether I want to start another business. I tried maybe like looking for a high paying job and seeing if I can get into operations of larger companies. But then as I started tinkering with the product, the metal mounts, the fire kind of got reignited, and I forgot what it was like to build the business from scratch. And I remember that I enjoyed what I enjoyed the most in my previous, after, again, in hindsight of 10 years of running that business, is what I enjoyed the most was the beginning stages of running that company. It was putting together product and putting together policies and solving problems and creating sort of systematic solutions that are automated and don't rely on me as a bottleneck. And so I'm kind of doing the same thing now. And the larger the business grows, the further away you get from that. You kind of get into more of HR problems to some degree, and you get away from actual business problems, in my opinion. And so as I started doing this, I felt that fire again. And so here we are again.
Yeah, it's nice, huh? How deep can we get in with this?
As far as you want to go.
So I don't know if we're on that part yet or not, but because I've for the listeners, I've been there from the beginning of this so far. And it's funny because this is a problem I ran into already. Like him and I just had that conversation. I'm like, it's kind of funny how this just went over my head because there's been several times where I've tried to look up like a cool metal display, and I have not found anything cool. I thought everything looked super tacky, and it didn't do like the justice. Like to me, it looks kind of shitty when you got like the thing on the wall and it's just a straight hook, and you've got like three metals hanging from it, overlapping each other and just dangling off. It almost looks like a key rack, like
Yep.
where you hang your keys, and it doesn't do the metals justice. So when we spoke of it, and then you jumped on getting the equipment to make it, and then you built the product. I guess my question is like, how did you know how much of an investment to make? What if it failed? How did you know like this was worth pursuing? Because I think this is something that might be great for not only like the niche, but also like other entrepreneurs to hear.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people have a lot of ideas, but it's really hard to tell if it's worth chasing or not.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm gonna start by answering it by saying that you have to fall in love with the problem, and the problem as you see it, obviously, and your vision is biased. However, it's also objective to some degree, because if you have that problem and you can't find a solution out there, chances are there are other people like you out there who are looking for the same solution and can't find it. And so again, it's like all innovation is driven by need, right? And it's generally the need of the person creating the innovation.
Mhm.
I think if you look at a lot of the inventions out there, most of them, I would say, got derived not from um, sort of a corporate pushed, although maybe I guess in the pharmaceutical industry they did, and or big business. However, like the light bulb maybe got invented because Thomas Edison needed to read a book at night, and the candle was burning his fingers or some shit, and he's like, man, I have this problem. And so there's probably other people out there who need this problem. I don't actually know whether this is true or not. Maybe it's a fabricated story, obviously. But in my opinion, same thing kind of happened with the last business I ran, paper tubes. It's like I needed packaging, I couldn't find it. I found a couple of vendors who did something similar. I wrote up an entire business plan. I emailed it to the CEO of that company. They ignored it, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna start this thing." And so I'm literally feeling the same kind of void in this space. It's like there isn't much out there. What's out there isn't very pretty, or it's not very seamless. And so let me see if I can create it, and let me see if I can create it in the cheapest and quickest way possible, and test the market and see whether that's a viable thing. Because sometimes it could also mean that you have a problem, but that problem isn't wide enough. There might be some other people who have the problem, but you can't make a business out of it because it's such a narrow niche, you know?
Yeah.
But like, you've been to competitions, you see how many people medal, you see how many people are out there. So it's like they have to do things with medals. They have to hang them up some way. Like, I don't know, chances are they're throwing it in a drawer somewhere, or maybe they're buying that kind of multi metal rack where they're all hanging, or they're putting pins into the wall, kind of like what we did at our gym, which essentially led to us taking all of them down because it started looking like shit.
Hey, I'm still
I know, I'm distraught too, man. I thought that wall looked great. However, again, once you have like all those metal on the wall, they're literally just hanging by the lanyard and a you know.
they start catching a lot of dust and shit too, because they make like when you pin them, they make like a little shelf and it just catches dust in there, so you get like dust bunnies on your wall too.
Right. And they're all different shapes and sizes and length and stuff, and so there's like no order to them. And the more you hang them up, the kind of the uglier they become, even though the whole wall is filled with metals.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I bought equipment because there was no other way for me to test the theory. And I could have gone, I guess, to somebody to have them cut for me so I can get them tested. But, speed is of the essence. I always believe that speed is the answer to most things. You have to be first to market. You have to be the quickest one to the market. You have to be the quickest one to the solution. And so, the risk wasn't very great because, like, at the very worst, I can sell that equipment on eBay or to somebody else and basically make all my money back, short of maybe a few $100s of shipping and stuff. So it's like, it's a very low risk. And so I ended up buying the laser, and it took me like a couple of months to perfect the design. And initially I started out with a precision cut shape of the metal, but it didn't hang well. And then so I ended up with kind of a universal mount, which is the one I have.
Yeah, and it's cool sorting out the issues and figuring it out and how to make it more fluent. Like it's really cool seeing version 1, version 2, version 3.
Yeah, and you have to get it out there. You have to have an actual version that's basically like a prototype, like a functional prototype. Because without a functional prototype, you don't know what it's going to look like. Because
Yeah.
it looks fine in your hands, and then you hang it on the wall, and like the metal isn't holding inside of it. And each metal is very difficult to cut, and so operationally it's a problem, and then visually it's a problem. And then I have to glue multiple pieces together, and I'm like, oh shit, this is like way more than what I signed up for. So like, how can I simplify it?
Yeah. And then you go through the problems before the customers have to, or so it's kind of nice when you build it from scratch like that, because if you have someone manufacture it, then you got to go back to them and be like, oh, can we do this next time? Can we do that? And then you might have a whole batch of ruined stuff.
Yeah, probably a few
Yeah.
$100 worth of acrylic that I
Yeah.
ruined.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was nice actually to have the opportunity to test it at the gym because we had the medals, and I had people who had their eyes on the first prototypes and gave me feedback and helped me iterate, and that's essentially what happened.
It's great, man, and it adds like even at home or at the gym, it adds prestige. Like it's like that's one thing I liked about David's gym, like David Vieira,
Mm-hmm.
is like when we walked in there, that little corner of the gym is kind of dedicated to like all of his achievements.
Yeah, there's a
And I
lot of
remember
them.
when he finally opened that gym, being the whatever time world champ he is, and he had his Ultimate Fighter jersey and his gloves, and he had like all of his medals in a nice little like it was like a custom display, like a very expensive like kind of custom setup, but then he had everything on display, and it was like just really cool and inspiring just walking by and seeing like damn, the dude's like legit, like a legit competitor.
Yeah, I think everybody thinks in terms of displays, like AOJ, I believe, that white gym in California.
Mhm.
They have all those medals on the wall.
It kind of makes me, it's kind of funny because all this time goes by and now I'm like damn, I kind of regret the medals I've left at competitions, or like
Mm,
the legendary mix match where they gave them to the wrong guy, and I was just like, he can have them. the
right.
guy didn't the guy didn't correct them, just took
Uh-huh.
the medals and ran.
That's
I'm like
funny.
damn, now that there's this cool way to display them, I've actually sat there quite a few times looking at the wall like I could have a lot more up there right now.
Gotta go
But
competing, dude.
huh?
Gotta go competing again. That'll get you up off your chair and,
Hasn't
and
been
into the
that long.
competition.
Dude, it's only been a few months since I competed.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, anyways.
So yeah,
uh,
so again, the first question is kind of why, and the answer is why not really, but
Hmm.
Now, again, having run through a variety of businesses, what you really need to establish is why you exist. Again, you're back to the question of why. And so that's really what your purpose is. So, as I see it currently, the purpose isn't to sell mounts, it's to transform achievements into inspiring displays of perseverance and greatness. It's literally you gotta go further than sort of the product itself. You gotta really get into the reasons why people would buy it. And it's not just because it looks good on the wall. It's because trophies on the wall remind you of your wins. It's because displaying these things, I think, help you recognize that you're potentially more than what you think you are sometimes. And so it also helps other people kind of look at it, especially the next generation. Kids walk into that gym and they're like, oh my god, this is a competition gym, this is what we do here. Look at this David Vieira, who's this world champion, teaching me. There's a lot of sort of psychological significance related to getting your medals out of a drawer and putting them on the wall, even though it's a bronze sometimes, or even though it's a silver sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, a win's a win, though, right? Like, you get a medal, you get a medal.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, the way you have to think about it is in context. The fact that you showed up to a competition, even if you lost in the first match, for example, already puts you above like 99% of people out there who don't even compete. Because as you know, competition isn't between you and the opponent. Sometimes it's between you and yourself. You got the
Hmm.
nerves, you got the adrenaline dump, you got your self-worth. And so all these things kind of account for being able to step up onto the mat and actually like sign up for a competition and get there. To
Yeah,
me,
hang
it's like
in.
a big deal, especially as a masters competitor, man. Like, I haven't done this shit before. Like, I played soccer in high school, and that's pretty much it. And all through college and as an adult, but like none of it was individual competitive events. And so when I started jujitsu in like my 40s, late 39, I think is when I started. Um, 38, 38, 39, something like that. That's a big deal. It's not like I did, wrestling in college and medaled and stuff. So
Yeah, it's definitely what do you call it? It's definitely a plateau to hit. Like, not a well, kind of like a plateau. Like, it's definitely like a way to level up. It'll take you. It's like reaching a new level, basically. Like, if you learn to fight through the nerves and learn to calm yourself and how to handle the adrenaline dump and how to handle seeing your competition. Like, once it's always different when you walk in the building and you see who you're up against and you're like, oh shit. But constantly reminding yourself that person's in the same situation. So
mhm.
you're here to handle it better than
Yep.
they are.
Yeah, it's literally motivation, to keep going
Hmm.
sometimes.
So yeah, you got a cool way to display them, and medals hanging on the wall. More always looks better, right?
Agreed.
Like, you put one up, that's nice. You put two up, you're like, damn, I need a third. And then you get three of them up there, you're like, maybe I could fill this wall and have a story for each of them.
For sure. For sure. I mean, I know people who have like hundreds.
I know, that's crazy. Some of those guys that you were showing me, my lord, how much money they must have given to IBJJF. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
They should
But
make
look,
a
it's worth
rewards
it.
card.
It's worth it, and it's worth it on an individual level, and it's worth it on a team level, and it's worth it on all levels beyond that, because people in those gyms where the head instructor is the first guy to sign up for a competition and the one to get on the podium all the time, whether it's
Yeah.
first, second, third. um, that's pretty motivating, man. That kind of
It, it,
puts a
it shows
fire
he's
on
pressure
you.
tested.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it builds character for sure.
I think, well, yeah, there's a there's a difference on the mats between like competitors, hobbyists, and then like, just enthusiasts. Like you roll someone who's a competitor or ex-competitor, but still has had their competition days. It's a lot different than rolling with someone who's just like off the street or just comes in their spare time, or
Mm-hmm.
there's different levels. You could tell when you roll. There's some guys in the gym who roll really good and they don't ever compete, and then there's some guys who, I don't know, I feel like they compete and you can kind of feel that they're a competitor. Like they've got
Right.
that like that edge and that type of like grind when you train with them. Same in fighting, same with like, sparring and boxing and shit like that. I think that's why wrestlers are so like aggressive, because they're so used to that like pace and that grind.
Yeah, the competition.
Yeah, that like, wrestlers are always competing. Like it's not like, oh man, every once in a while Jimmy went to a karate tournament and broke a board. It's like they're always it's nonstop. It's like the most grind, like the definition of grind.
Yeah, judo guys are like that too. Actually, it's weird
Yeah, yeah.
because I think a lot of other martial arts are very competition heavy,
Yep.
and jujitsu is like off and on because you can have gyms that are non-competition gyms, and you can have gyms that are like only competition gyms.
Yep.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, some gyms go through phases.
Some
When I got
gyms go through phases for sure.
when I got to our gym, like there's a huge like every competition we had like a lot of people. I made it really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably like right around halfway through in the beginning of my purple belt, it like tapered off a little bit. But now it seems like we got a few guys. It's funny. Seems like the older guys are now the ones that want to compete, not
I
the
know.
younger guys.
I'm telling you, that's the market. That's the market. It's masters 3 blue belts.
Yeah, for real.
That's funny.
So what's next?
All right. So, once you have your purpose established, you really have to kind of get core values there. And core values are generally values of the owners because it's very difficult to um, live and work fake values. They really have to be like things you actually believe in. So, for example, in our previous company at Paper Tube, our core values were competence, integrity, curiosity was there too. Competence, integrity, curiosity. Man, I don't even remember anymore. But essentially, they formed the word circle. So, like, C for competence, I for integrity, and so on.
R for respect.
No, it wasn't respect. It was man. I can probably pull it up, but we're gonna move on from them.
Yeah,
My values here, in my opinion, can be really boiled down to three things
ice.
because a lot of them are sort of self-encompassing, right? In this case, they form the word ice, not because we want to deport people, but because we're ice cold. As they say, you need a nice bath every morning in order to build resilience. And so our values are integrity, because before I used to actually believe that competence was the number one value. And over time, that really changed because integrity is more important than competence. Because I think if you don't have that baseline of integrity, it's very difficult to have anything else on top of it. And integrity I defined as trust and reputation are the greatest personal assets, and they are valuable resources that must be cherished and nurtured. And I would say I put integrity above all else.
Hmm.
And then curiosity obviously is still there because you need to be able to tinker, right? You need to be able to explore. You need to be open to even figuring out that you're wrong and losing and learning. And, that's encompassed in curiosity. So it's like curiosity is what drives us to understand our customers' needs, how to develop great products and fit those needs, and create remarkable experiences before, during, and after purchase. So, how do we ensure that the experience before the purchase makes you buy the product? the experience during your purchase doesn't get in the way of you buying the product, and then that you're actually happy with the product after the purchase and come back to buy more of them. And so
Mhm.
it kind of encompasses the entire scope of your experience as a customer. And the third one is excellence. And I think excellence encompasses competence, because in order for you to be excellent, you have to be competent. And so that means we hold ourselves to high standards, deliver outstanding results, and invest in continuous improvement. And so between those three, I think that's an entire box. That's your ice bath.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. I like integrity.
Yeah,
Like you're always gonna do the right thing.
for sure. For sure. So let's talk about kind of key initiatives for this year. Again, this is something that I reused from the presentations that I used, the town halls that I used to have at Paper Tube Company, and those were more internal. We talked about what are the company initiatives on the sales side, on the operation side, on the production side, kind of all departments moving forward for the entire year. And then you take all those initiatives for the entire year, and then you break them up into quarterly goals. And so that's more of an internal thing. But from an sort of a outside communication, we're going to talk about the three departments, growth, operations, and production, because I think people should understand and know what goes on here and how all these things kind of fit back into the values and the purpose. So on the growth side, I'd like to get into influencer marketing. I've already had a few people reach out that I've kind of sent products to, that have put together videos, and those videos have gotten me views. I don't know if I can currently track the purchases back to those influencers, but that's something that I think I'm planning to do moving forward. Maybe get more products into the hands of more influencers and see if uh, if I can solicit especially honest feedback from them, even though they are getting free product. That's obviously better than getting fake reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Affiliate program, I already set that up. I had a few people actually reach out, gyms specifically. So had instructors at various gyms reached out and they're like, "Hey man, do you have affiliate program? We want to resell these things to our students and offer them to the students." And so I set up an affiliate program. And if you are a gym owner, reach out and we can talk about having you offer the mounts to your students and earning some money and some credits on that. I think also in the future I want to do some events, maybe get a table out at a couple of these events, maybe Tap Cancer out. I talked to a couple other ones. I talked to IBJJF. They sent me the rate for Jiu-Jitsu Con. It was not cheap, so I got to figure out whether it's worth it and how much I need to sell in order to justify breaking even on something like that. Because I remember with anytime we did an event in the past, between travel and food expenses and lodging and the event itself and bringing other people to it, it was something between an average of $15,000 to $20,000 per event, and so that's a lot of mounts.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can justify it currently. I don't know if I'll be at that sort of expense. Maybe it'll be 10 to 12,000 total. Still a big expense to do. So maybe, Pans is obviously right around the corner, but I'm kind of late to that event. That might be an easier event to get to than, Las Vegas, for example, because that's in our backyard. So maybe
Or like
next year,
Orlando Open,
yeah, Orlando Open, something like that,
Tampa
assuming they have
Open.
tables out there. But anyway, so that's something I want to do. And then additional sales channels. So for example, I already set up Etsy, got a couple orders through there. Setting up a TikTok shop. I believe live shopping is a current trend. So I want to see if I can maybe, at the very worst, learn the skill of doing live shopping, even if it fails miserably. They say any skill you learn is better than not learning it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing I want to do on the growth side. On the operations side, we've been generating, my wife and I have been generating content daily. Some days we post multiple times a day. Some days we post once a day, but ultimately we're posting daily. They said you need hundreds of views in order for the people even to give a shit, or thousands of views. You need like hundreds of posts before people give a shit, and so
I
we're getting
disagree with
there. I mean, we basically went from 0 to, I think we're sitting at about 400 followers at the moment in about a month. So I would say that's good success for a startup.
Yeah, it's social media is such a like so exhausting.
Yep. Talked to my lawyer, got a patent application going. We did a search of patents, and we feel that there's a utility and a design patent on the mount. So that includes the configuration of the holes and the utility of how the metal hangs. And so I'm putting a patent application together. I mean, this,
Nice.
if one's granted, this will be like my third or fourth patent. I have a bunch of other patents. Q&A live sessions. So again, I'm planning to do town halls like this every month. Maybe go live and do Q&A sessions, assuming people show up. I think really in order to get to good live numbers, you probably have to have 1,000 or more followers.
Yeah, dude, it takes like the ratio is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's I don't think
1%
it's
maybe. So out of 1,000, 1 person shows up, some shit like that.
something like that. Like
Yeah.
even if you have 1,000, like I think even having 12 in there is good. Like it seems like the ratio is crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
And like
Yeah. The other thing is, I've asked ChatGPT this question, how do you properly go live? And they said you should look at the trends, your analytics on your Instagram business account, and see when people are the most active. And so I checked my account, and 3 p.m. I literally looked at like daily activity,
mm,
and 3 p.m. was like the best time, followed by something like 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. or some shit like that.
mm.
And so I'm like, all right, I'll do it at 3, and then nobody showed up. And so maybe next time we'll do it at 9.
Even on like Whatnot and all those types of stores, man. The guys that I know that sell a lot on there, they're like on it constantly. Like they're on live daily. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times they're giving away stuff, like it's like giveaways. So it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like you're giving stuff away just for followers who probably won't even come back unless it's giveaways. So you're
Yeah.
like, but it's weird because it's like you're giving away stuff to people who will follow you, but like they're not going to buy anything. But because they're in the room waiting for giveaways, it tells the algorithm to promote you because it's live and there's interaction.
Mm.
So it spotlights you. So it's like this weird like game you gotta play. And all that kind of stuff's exhausting, man. It's like almost it's a lot to do yourself.
Yeah.
Just that alone.
Yeah, and that's kind of the wonders of a small business. You're the owner slash janitor. You're basically packing the products and selling the products and doing the social media live, Q&As, and then recording podcasts and then editing the podcasts and then posting.
Can't wait.
No, yeah, I know. And so again, the other thing is podcasts. I've already been doing podcasts for kind of my personal thing, talking to people I admire, and talking about things that I'd like to learn from smart people. And once I launched this business, that thing kind of fell off because my time went here. But the goal is to continue doing it, and I think the proper path here is maybe to start doing podcasts with athletes and picking their brain on competing mindset and perseverance and sort of
That sounds familiar.
backstories,
Yeah.
maybe failure, maybe things like that.
That's kind of like the guys on my channel.
Yeah, literally, that's your that's your group.
That's what, but yeah, I like it. And it's funny because in the same page, like I posted consistently for a year and then I would try to come up with some sort of product to kind of base my podcast around or like at least promote during my podcast
Mm-hmm.
for for and people. And it's funny, like the act fast thing you're saying, because now it's been over a year, and I've still been like chasing tails on the ideas I had and I was trying to come up with, and that postponed my podcast
Yeah.
to the point to where now I've got like episodes I got to get posting again. And
Yeah, so you have back episodes you haven't posted yet. I have the opposite problem. I have
yeah.
back ideas I want to talk about, but I don't have any guests lined up.
Yeah, or you could find out a way to do solo. I think I'm gonna do some solo episodes too.
Mm-hmm.
So if that floats your boat, like, you can have Chat GPT come up with some, help you brainstorm some solo episode ideas.
Weekly rants.
Yeah, stuff like that. I used to have tidbits, like when I noticed stuff at the gym, or like even if I had like I noticed like, a training partner or like a student or something like that gave me an idea of like a lesson I could teach. Like
Yep.
I posted like a tidbit, like the competition jitters one I posted, and then like the
The Purple Belt Blues or Purples. I remember that
purple
one. That one was
purple
good.
belt blues got pretty popular, which is kind of weird because that one was like it was just like almost a spur of the moment, like something I noticed, and then I'm like, huh, it's not just blue belt blues, it's purple belt blues too. And I
Mm-hmm.
just sat down and wrote it out and then talked about it. So maybe something like that could help you.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta fit all this in between all these other things I'm doing. So
I know, man. Just social media alone is such a time. Like,
it's rough.
it's very rough. I remember when I was detailing, I would like, so my idea of detailing, because I detailed so many cars, and a lot of them were like nice luxury cars. When I started really getting into it, my idea was, and for any detailers out there, if you're listening, like, I think
ASMR
this is
videos.
that, dude, that would be a really good, I'm sure they exist, but that would be a really good channel for ASMR for
Mm-hmm.
sure. All the scrubbing and all the different like squeaking and stuff. Yeah. The hoses sucking, like the hot water extraction,
Right.
waxing, all that stuff's got its own noise. But um that's a really good idea. But one thing just for posting on Instagram, I try to like daily, like whatever car I was doing, post like the pictures of the car before and after, and then like write like in the caption like facts about that car that aren't like common facts.
Mm-hmm.
So I look up the car I'm looking working on and go through Google and find like some cool facts and copy and paste it into the caption, just so like people who saw my like post like had like a reason to like actually look at it and check it out and like learn. Like I was trying to give something back to people rather than they're just saying, "Oh, cool, clean car. Oh, cool, clean car. Oh, cool, a shiny car." I wanted them to have some sort of value,
Mm-hmm.
and like that became such a pain in the ass because like, you've got several appointments to make and you're trying to clean this car and clean that car. And sometimes you don't even get the before pictures because you show up and you're like, all right, let's get this done. And you start breaking shit out and getting into your emotions. And you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't take the before pictures of the
Mm-hmm.
seats or anything like that. And then like sitting there looking up facts, you're like, oh, when I get to the next job, I'll post this one. And then pretty soon it's like 2 or 3 days go by and you still haven't posted the pictures of the cars. It'd almost be like great to get like a day, and I'm just spitballing here, to get like a day for social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like get all your like social media and pick like a day to sit there and just have like something schedule it all out and post it automatically.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Like the editing alone is like a separate role. And because, you know, even talking about the car situation, you have to figure out what facts you want to look up. You want to figure out where in the scene those facts are going to be uh the the text over, and you want to get the audio right, and then you want to get the angles right, and you're probably filming from like multiple GoPros, one inside, one outside, one on the bucket, one on
Yeah.
the on your hand as you're like brushing and shit.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff. But there are people who do that successfully. I think there's a guy on TikTok who reposts cars. I think Repo King or something like that. It's basically this dude. He's got a bunch of cameras mounted on his tow truck. So there's one on the lift arm, there's one inside the cabin, and then there's like one on the side somewhere. and he's literally going into like shitty neighborhoods and taking cars that has that have outstanding payments, and he's like in and out, and sometimes he catches these people like coming out with a rifle, or people like
Yeah.
screaming at him and shit and throwing stuff at him. And I think he's got like hundreds of thousands of followers, and he's getting millions of views, and he's probably getting paid more money by TikTok
Yeah,
than
man.
through the actual job.
Yeah, you've showed me some crazy accounts that are like the guy that roast mailboxes.
Yeah, that's dude, it's crazy.
That guy I found, I saw like him. He made a funny video of him rapping the mailboxes like he's roasting them, like a rap battle. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Let's see what else this guy's got. And his whole account was literally that. But he had a lot of followers and shit. It's like,
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's almost a different business. Although there are people who do it successfully on both sides. For example, like that Chinese dude Tony, from LCT Signs or some shit.
killing it. He's killing
He's
it.
killing it. He's got like over 1 million followers, and he's selling signs. So he's clearly doing both successfully.
Do you think that like his content's funny? But do you think that like it's that funny, or do you think that he went viral just by chance and then ran with it, and it's just he's doing a really good job at keeping the flame burning?
I think so. I think that's the case. Sometimes you have to get discovered by accident, because
Mm-hmm.
he probably created a whole bunch of unfunny content before he kind of randomly stumbled on this thing, and it
Mm-hmm.
caught people's attention, and then now he's doubling down on it every time, and he's like developing his own whole persona around the virality of Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fucking great.
so
Like
maybe at some
his
point I'll do that with mounts, like I'll do stupid narrations of people getting injured at competitions from not tapping, and then I'll basically call it all gay and then try to sell a mount.
yeah, man. I think I would love to see that. I think we talked about that before. Like getting there's so many jiu-jitsu videos out there that are goofy as hell, or you know, homosexual as hell looking.
Yeah, yeah, and you can
Like you
probably
can't.
turn that into an influencer channel just by itself. Now, I have mixed thoughts about that because the unseriousness of it. Um, I don't know how that relates to your brand, because on the one hand, you want to be taken seriously as somebody who's competent, for example, who does an excellent job. On the other hand, you have this like online persona of a meme guy, right? Or this funny like comedy guy. I don't know if those things kind of go well together, although maybe that's the current landscape of business that's
I think
online.
I think in today's day and age it works because
Maybe I'm
in
just too old, because I come from the world
right, like
of being more
professionalism.
like being more professional and formal, like
But
that's the
if you're
curse of the master's competitor.
well, like say like you right now, like you're basing this brand, you're being transparent, like you said in the beginning, and you're appealing to your customers. It's like, well, if you're funny and you put your personality into it, like I want my podcast and if like whatever community I grow, like I don't want them to be like, oh, Kevin the businessman. I want them to like think that like
Hmm.
I don't know, fuck around and we can be like open and say whatever the fuck we want. No one's gonna be offended, you know?
Yeah, that's
Kind of like the Discord we had for a little bit. Like we were all in there and we're pretty ruthless and talking. Maybe like tone it down a little bit so that everyone can have some fun. But like you get the idea. Like
ish.
my personality is like, I fuck around and talk a lot of shit. But
Yeah, but I think that's whole jujitsu. I imagine every
yeah,
gym during stretching is
yeah.
exactly like our gym. It's
Some
all
of them.
it's all it's all a mix of conspiracy theories and talking shit about people.
I've been to some that were like a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I've been yeah, I've been to some that were like they're not really into that part of it. I don't know. A lot of gyms have different vibes. I think a lot of gyms are cool with it, and a lot of people in jiu-jitsu are laid back. And I think like a lot of people, when you get to know them in jiu-jitsu, you're like, okay, like he's a little bit weird, but so are we all. But not all gyms. But I guess my point is like, if your personality bleeds into it a little bit, then that's just, I mean, like Dave Portnoy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Barstool Sports. Like it's not like he's walking around like super professional guy. He goes and folds pizza in half and eats it and talks shit about whatever pizza shop or how you know what I mean? He's like he's got his personality involved. It's not a big deal. I don't think so. It wouldn't turn me off to like buy in a mount. Oh, that guy's kind of funny. I'm not gonna buy his mount. You know?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And again, I'm not very formal, and I've never really been formal. If you ask like all the employees and some of my customers, from my previous places that were like, multi-million dollar businesses, they're okay with the personality of as long as I follow through on my promise and the reputation is there. And so I think you, I think
100%.
you can do both. I think you're
Like
right.
you can have personality and then also like stand by your principles. Like look at 50 Cent, dude.
Yeah, makes sense.
That dude is like one of the best like trollers ever, but obviously he knows how to handle business.
Right.
And if you make years of rap music about like fucking bitches, selling drugs, shooting people,
But then you
and
also have vitamin water
but then you're able to go sell like a healthy vitamin water for millions of
or
dollars and have
smart
these
water. Was it smart water or vitamin water?
vitamin water
Okay.
for millions of dollars and go in these business meetings and
Mm-hmm.
all the shit he's involved in and like I think that's like a good example of like how you can be yourself but still successful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, I think at the base of all of it is being authentic and transparent. And essentially, that's what I'm trying to do here.
If you post a funny meme,
Yeah, post a funny meme about mounts.
actually, you know what, like NFL's doing that nowadays.
Do they?
Yeah, I just saw oh man, because right now is like free agency as of right now. So like a lot of teams are trading players and picking up free agents and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, like picking up free agents. And uh gosh, who was it? Was it like Seattle or like one of the teams got like one of the big receivers. I think it was like damn, I can't think of it. But like
Mm-hmm.
when they maybe it was the Raiders when they got Geno Smith or the Seahawks when they I don't remember what it was. But when they got him, they like posted like a SpongeBob. It was like a picture of SpongeBob like kind of biting his lip
Mm.
like smiling and like looking over like he was up to something. You know what I mean? Like even those like organizations are posting memes and funny stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. It's I think it's great to add personality into it.
Sounds like I need to create a mount with a head of JD Vance as the metal. Have you seen those memes going
Yeah,
around?
those dude jump on it. What if it's
It's ridiculous.
yeah, you don't have the medals to make that move or whatever he said. You don't got the cards to play that or to
You haven't you
to make
haven't thanked me for the medals yet.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank me for the medals.
Yeah. Anyway,
Nice.
talking of being funny and authentic. So the production side of things, obviously, is its own little department. And so on the production side, the initiatives are to streamline assembly, and that's from cutting the mounts to packing the mounts. I'm going to improve packaging. After packing hundreds of these mounts, I already switched packaging once to, I don't know if I have one here. I gotta go find it. But essentially, it's a band that fits onto the mount, and then the mount itself goes into the bag.
Hmm.
And so while that looks good, the problem with that is there's a lot of touches because then you have to peel the paper from the mount after the cutting, and then you have to make sure you don't get any fingerprints, especially on those black mounts. They're like mirrors, and so they show every single mark and fingerprint. And so as you're trying to put that packaging band on it, I'm grabbing it with hands and leaving fingerprints, and it requires another wipe. So it's like adding to the assembly cost.
Right.
So I'm gonna switch again from the bag plus band to a printed bag. So it's gonna be just peel and bag.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna launch shadow boxes. I don't know if you've seen some of the images. A few customers have bought the mount, and then they went on Amazon and they purchased a shadow box, and I purchased a couple. It's essentially
Yeah, that looks those they look really good,
they
the
look
shadow box.
awesome, and so you can interchange them with the black and the white, and they look phenomenal.
Get
And so I'm gonna see if I can, because I think they're like $20 on Amazon. They're made by some company who also makes them in China, obviously. I've reached out actually to that company and set up a wholesale account, but there's not much margin to make any money reselling them. So I'm going to see if I can make this thing myself and sell them for cheaper than $20.
Maybe I can help you with that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, and that makes some sense.
Is that the idea I've got, or the department you've given me, or we've been working on?
Yeah, yeah, and then inventory controls. I ran out of inventory once, and it took me like 2 weeks to replenish it, and I had probably 30 orders sitting there waiting for the acrylic to come in, and then I had to cut it, and so I had to actually upgrade all those people to more expensive shipping to get it to them faster. But I ate all those costs, and so I'm setting up controls to make sure I don't run out of product, and I can still ship within 1 to 2 days.
Do they let you subscribe and save?
Subscribe and save, baby.
There we go. Yeah, some of those sponsor guys, maybe they can get like a trophy wall subscribe and save. Oh, here we go.
All right.
I wonder when we're gonna get to see it.
Yeah, what's new? So a few things have actually changed. So first, when I launched it, I launched it with just the white, and it was glossy on both sides. But then I found better material. I basically found a material that's matte on one side and glossy on the other. And then I found a really nice black one that's really nice matte on one side, and it's super glossy on the other. Here's a picture that I took because that's at any angle there'd be some reflection, so it might as well be me. And so the one actually to the left of the black one is the gloss white, and you obviously don't see my reflection in it, but it is more glossy, and it looks beautiful. And actually, that's the packaging. So on the left side, you see the white one with the band in it. And so when I try to put the band inside of the black one before putting it in the bag, I touch that thing like 30 times, and so I got to wipe all those fingerprints off again. Because again, if you're unboxing, you're a customer unboxing the mount, I want it to look beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
buy rags or gloves.
Yeah, I'm doing both. I use rags and gloves, and then I actually found a really nice acrylic wipe that doesn't damage the surface. But for the black one, the matte one actually looks great. So I think most people that have purchased black are putting the gloss side towards the wall because it looks much better on the matte.
I would think because the metal is shiny that the matte would look better.
Yeah,
here's
the matte. Like it looks great.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's like literally no fingerprints on that thing. While the other side, again, it's I can see the reflection of my ring light over there. So everybody now who buys a mount is getting an upgraded finish, matte on one side and glossy on the other.
Nice.
All right, next, here's the shadow boxes I was talking about. Man, they look great.
Gorgeous.
I know. I actually, now that I look at them, I almost think that every one of these should be in a shadow box. So I got to figure out how to get that produced. Although, again, they look great without it. I mean, there's plenty of pictures of people putting it on their walls, and we have it on the wall of our gym with no shadow box behind it, and it looks fantastic.
It looks good. Yeah, that way looks cool too because, and for people, just to give people another option, our wall has pictures of our competitors in shadow boxes, and then the mount is hung underneath of it without shadow boxes, and it kind of looks cool because it makes the practitioners
stand out.
Yeah, and then like this is their achievements, but it still looks really modern and sleek. Like all
Yep.
their stuff is on display.
Yeah, so it looks good either way. But again, once I see them in the shadow box, man, they look so good.
Butt scooting back there.
Yeah, I see your dog over there. That's all good.
She's been like circling me like a shark.
It's funny.
I thought she's like butt scooting in the background making fun of you.
All right. What else is new? I added sets. So I saw that initially I had, single units, so single mount light, mount light and white, mount light and black, and then the mount. But then I saw people are buying multiples, and I'm like, why don't they just create sets and apply a slight discount to them? So I basically released sets of 6 and sets of 9.
And why'd you choose those numbers?
Because first of all, for a set of 6, if you're doing, for example, an IBJJ competition, a lot of people are doing double golds, double medal, silver and gold. So whatever, bronze and gold, bronze and silver. But they are getting 2 medals sometimes. And so you'll have 3 sets of 2s. And if not, 9's good, because I actually checked how they look on the wall, and sets of 3 is a nice way to display them rather than sets of 2. Sets of 3 looks more complete.
Yeah.
And so sets of 6 and sets of 9. And if people give me more feedback that they're buying sets of 10 or sets of 8, multiples of 2 or multiples of 4, for example, then we'll just add more sets. But so far, I've had a bunch of people buy 6 and 9. So people are obviously buying.
I like it.
Yep. So there's been a bunch of feedback, and I've divided the feedback into customer feedback and shopper feedback. And so what I'm calling shopper feedback are basically comments on Instagram posts. And there's been a whole bunch of feedback, and I've read through all of it and I've replied to all of it, but I've essentially categorized it in kind of functional categories. And so I'm going to walk through each of those. So the first category is basically people making fun of anybody who's framing or hanging up or mounting, whatever you want to call it, things that are not quote unquote top tier. Somebody said, are people framing open medals now? And then somebody else said, kind of a powerful speech for a bronze medal. It's like, yes, it is a powerful speech for a bronze medal. And yes, people are framing open medals. Not everybody's an elite competitor. You don't know what kind of battles people are personally battling internally. And so any achievement in my eyes, again, even if it's a bronze medal in a 3-person division, the fact that you showed up, you're already a champion in my book.
Right. And who's to say these people have any?
Yeah, maybe they should be more humble. And look, first of all, great for them if they're getting these top tier achievements. Not everybody can get them. A small percentage of people out there is just better athletes naturally, and they train more, and good for them. However, that doesn't mean people who are older, more hobbyist, and otherwise shouldn't be proud of their achievements. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of one set of
That's the
feed.
haterade.
Yeah, it's haterade. And again, social media is weird because again, it's almost like, I know these people aren't anonymous, but it's semi-anonymous, because we don't know each other, and so people are like trying to be funny and sarcastic, and
Some people you're gonna get people are more likely to leave negative than positive, so you're gonna be outnumbered on that.
correct. Especially, again, it's a fight for attention. You want to be the comment that gets the most likes, and it's like, no problem, man. I have no issues with it. In fact, like all of my comments on all of them are in the same light. I think I was going back and forth with one guy that was talking, and I think in fact that comment is in there. So I'll talk about that shortly. So that's one category. The other category was like, I got like 50 medals. This is too much work, maybe for special medals. It's like, absolutely. Maybe it is too much work, but maybe not. Maybe you should hang 50 of those medals up in your gym because it'll look great. Because, a wall of 50 of those mounts, especially in shadow boxes, looks fantastic. So it's like, if you look at top gyms, AOJ, Autos, Alliance, you walk into the lobby of any of those, there's like tens, maybe hundreds of medals hanging there. Maybe some of them are open. Maybe some of them are Master's World. Maybe some of them are pens, you know? It's like, who gives a shit, man? You earned the
Yeah.
medal. You should hang it up.
Yeah. I mean, and also it's like,
And it's too much work. Like, relative to what? Relative to
yeah,
keeping him in the drawer? Yes, it's more work. Like, who said work is a bad thing?
why do you want the medals if you're not like, if you just got them laying around?
Right. And
I mean,
again,
maybe,
no, this is no hard feelings. We're shooting
yeah,
shit, you know?
maybe they've got them hanging up already. Maybe they're already like pinned up on the wall or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But also, why not?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, why? Why not?
It looks good.
Clean your bed. Or was it? Make your bed. Clean your room. Gonna go Jordan Peterson in you. All right, so
It's
that's
just
kind of the second category. Then there's the category of cost. So we can talk about that. So the first comment I think I got was a guy said cost too much, and I looked him up, and he owns a Jiu-Jitsu academy, and so I responded, "That's what they say about the cost of membership, but we both know the true value." And so I feel the same way about any cost. What's the value of what you're doing relative to what the cost is? If you don't see the cost, then maybe you don't see any value. And so it's like, it's no problem. Maybe you're not the customer.
right.
It's like plenty of people walk into a jiu-jitsu gym and they're not willing to pay $150 or $180, whatever the cost is. And they're like, no. But then, you can always argue that jiu-jitsu saved my life and changed my life for the better, and all of those things, right? And so I guess, what's the cost of that? Same thing here.
Yeah, and with all of these, I just wonder, I'm like, do all these like, so if there's something that I don't care about, like I just keep scrolling. So to take the time, form the opinion, and then write it out and then hit post. I wonder if that all stems from like a subtle like I want this.
Maybe. It's
You know what I
possible.
mean? Like
Yeah, it could be like a subconscious thought about, and again, maybe it's a mismatch of value. It's also possible that,
think about how many people I walk down the street and I look at and I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't wear that. I wouldn't be that guy. I wouldn't. But do I walk up to every one of them and leave a comment? No, I just keep about my life,
for sure. And here's the other thing. No matter what products people post or companies post online, like I've seen ads for like BMWs, for example. And if you read the comments on any of those ads, people are like bitching about the cost of a BMW relative to the value you're getting. And
Yeah.
so they're clearly not buyers, but plenty of people still buy BMWs and drive them.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, that's fine. It's a sample set that maybe isn't your customers, because no matter what they would cost, maybe they wouldn't buy them anyway. Because again, think of how real that question is. Because I bet if I ask all these people, how much would you pay for it, you wouldn't even get a response a lot of times.
And then the other thing is like, so this guy says $20 to $30 to mount a single $2 medal? Question mark.
Well,
Well,
it's
you
not the, it's,
probably paid 100 plus to go win that $2 medal.
I know it's not the metal. It's, again, what's the cost? It's missing. All of these
Yeah.
comments are missing context. It's like, if you're looking at a cost of a metal as $2 and you're assigning $2 as the value of the metal, you shouldn't be talking about the metal. You should be talking about the cost of the win. What did it take? How many training competition, how many training regimens and sacrifices did it take you to get to that tournament and win that medal,
Yeah, for
regardless of
sure.
the cost. Like, if you're always looking at it through the lens of raw material cost, you know, maybe it's the wrong context, because then
Yeah.
nothing is valuable.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they're all missing a little bit of understanding. But that, like you said, that's what it is. That's just business on the internet for sure.
Yeah. And then, the last one was like, too expensive for the market. Most seasoned competitors have a lot of medals. I have a lot I need a good solution for. It's like, sure. Again, what's the comparison? Like, is the alternative not mounting the medals, or is the alternative a different type of mount that's cheaper that you like more? So it's like, what are we competing with here? Am I competing with perception? Am I competing with another product? And or am I competing with sort of a value judgment? Because I myself as a
Yeah.
shop, like I've been on their side. I look at some things through the same lens,
Mhm.
um, and a lot of times it's a mismatch between contexts. It's a mismatch between one product and another product. It's a mismatch between one product that I like less and one product that I like more, even though it might cost more, or it might be inaction versus action. The cost of not mounting anything is zero. The cost of buying mounts and putting them on the wall is time and money. And so, again, it'd be nice to sort of understand what the proper number is. And they might actually be true. It might be true that these things should cost $10 instead of 20. And my hope ultimately is to get them as low as possible while still making a profit, because I'd like to get them on people's walls because A, they look great, and B, they stand for the proper values, the values of sacrifice, the values of showing up for competition, the values of pride, the
Yep.
values of fighting, the value of just kind of being a better human being through grit and sacrifice, essentially. So it's like, I actually feel good having those things on the wall. Should they cost $10? I'd love to sell them to you as low as I can while I can still make a profit. Maybe the key to that is volume. Maybe at this point, I have to sell them at $20 to $30 because there's just not enough numbers on the table. It's the cost of volume.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, $20 or $30 doesn't go that far anyway.
Right, right.
Like
Plus, it's the cost.
the time to process the order.
Right, it's the cost of time. But again, if you're a consumer, you don't really give a shit, how much time the
Yeah,
company.
that's
Nor
true.
should you. It's not your responsibility to find a way to justify the time it takes to produce something and deliver it to you at the price you're willing to pay. It's like,
Hmm.
totally understand. Like, I've been on that side of the business too. Like, I'm also a consumer. At the same time, I'm running a business. I'm also a consumer. So it's like, I get it. And
Yeah.
so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to essentially create systems and processes where I can create and sell a beautiful product that creates a better experience for customers as cheaply as possible. And maybe it's just
Yeah.
time that's standing in between me and that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Time and calibrating.
Okay. Next one was, this was a weird one. Somebody said, I'm copying the design and just making them at home. It's like, great. I think I replied to that as, dude, there's no shame on that. Let me know what they look like. It's like anybody can buy raw materials and a machine that cuts it and make themselves a single unit. You know, the problem with that, or the problem with that type of thinking, first of all, there's no problem with that thinking. If you're able to, there's plenty of handyman that can produce products in their garage for their own personal need, and good for them. However, making a business out of it is a different story. I'm trying to build a business. If you can, like, email me and I will email you the cut plans for this. If you have a laser machine, you're welcome to make yourself a couple of these. It might actually cost you more in time than just buying one for $20, but you're welcome
Yeah.
to do it.
That's how I'm looking at it too. It's like to sit down and measure all the holes and the spacing and all that stuff and then calibrating it, whether you're hand cutting it or laser cutting it. The time it's going to take to do all that, I'm like, ugh, probably worth just supporting a business.
For sure. Even for a $50 to $100 product, there's plenty of products out there that I can probably, with a little ingenuity and time, that I can make myself,
Hmm.
that I would rather not. But some I do. It's like, instead of buying a phone mount, I can just use a Coke can and rest my phone against it. And there you go. I saved myself $25.
It's true.
So it's like, Sure. Anyway, so that's shopper feedback. Now, next one is customer feedback. We're almost done. I know you want to go to sleep here.
Oh, we're good.
So I got a whole bunch of feedback, including reviews and photos, and that's what it looks like. So, a lot of people said some of them put them on shadow boxes here and here. Some of them just mount them without the shadow box. Looks like a lot of people are actually mounting top
That's a wicked
tier.
picture.
Yeah, top tier stuff, not necessarily open trophies, right? Open medals. They're doing World Masters and they're doing Euros. They're doing Pans, Worlds, things like that. So, yeah, good for them. It's great. The only feedback I would add to that is a lot of them have this little pin on the medals. You can remove them. It's a removable pin. So I would say remove them and put it onto the knot. And then that will allow you to hang the medal like so, where you have a piece of the lanyard showing under it and a piece of the lanyard showing above it. And it looks better than kind of having the medal resting at the bottom and then the lanyard on top. But all the
Yeah,
feedback from customers has actually been positive.
yeah, it's a dope product.
Yeah.
I think even a Naga medal looks good. I mean, like we said, that's internet trolls, but I think it's a great product, and it's a good point that you're proving right here that like the shoppers can talk shit, but the people who buy it, you know,
Yeah.
it's like it's like the product at the gym I'm trying to sell, like tap me in front of professor for $30. For $40, you get to choose a submission, and no one wants to buy it. Everyone wants to tap me, but no one wants to buy the product.
That's funny.
But I gave out one for free, and he got his brown belt within a week.
That's pretty
Right?
funny.
So it's a
5 stars.
it's a proven product. First customer loved it, great results, and now it's just getting all the shoppers to either shut up or put up.
For
I don't know
sure.
if I'm gonna hand out another freebie or two or something. We'll see, but
You you need influencers. You basically need somebody to film a video of tapping you out and then the professor doing good job.
oh, do we have a? If we have a video of him, if we have a video of him getting his belt, I could probably get the video of him getting the loop choke, and
Yeah.
I could probably stitch them together. Like coincidence,
It's pretty
and then
funny
like just
actually.
drop my rates.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, literally, that's what you need. You basically, so here's the script. So it's like the role, the submission, the recognition of the professor, and then the promotion.
Oh my gosh, I gotta talk to Chris. I'm gonna talk to Chris as soon as I can.
Let's do it.
I gotta get that. I gotta get that like that piece of film. Hopefully, Homeboy didn't delete it all. I hope he's got it saved somewhere. That'd be so funny. That'd be great. That's the whole presentation.
Yeah, that's it. So basically, again, just talk about initiatives and talk about the current situation, state of affairs, and hoping to do this every month.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great. I love it. I think it's an awesome product. Now that you got the affiliate thing set up, we should film a video, and then I could drop it in my podcast. It's like a little commercial.
Mm.
Hey guys, let's take a quick break, and I want to show you my buddy's new product, Trophy Wall, and hit some of those, some of those points, and then I have get my own affiliate marketing
Hell
link.
yeah! Get you some mounts.
Well, wait, how does that work? So like everyone they sell, they get like a kickback, or
10% of the sale. So basically, what it is they get their own link. So it'll be like trophywall.co/acai, right?
Mhm.
And you put that link into all of your content or otherwise. And anybody that clicks on that link will basically get a cookie. And anybody that buys that has that cookie through that link, the referrer gets not only the referrer gets 10% of the sale, but also the customer gets 10% discount. So everybody that you refer through that link automatically gets 10% off the entire order. and then you get 10% of the sale.
Can't lose, brother.
Yeah, that's
That's gonna be sick.
yeah.
I
Hopefully it goes
love
through.
watching it build.
Yeah, I think it's a good model for again gyms, because I've had a few people reach out and they're like, can I buy like 50 of these and hold them in the gym, and then I can sell them on to students after competitions, and I
Send
can
them a send them a QR code.
yeah I can do that. Yeah, QR code would actually work too.
Then they could post it in their gym, and people can just scan it and
That's
buy it right there.
that's actually a great idea. So maybe create a little QR code printout sticker that they put inside the gym, and right on the mount, maybe put a medal and a mount, and then a QR code on the bottom sticker, and then somebody scans it and they just buy it, and that's not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, and then you know, then people in the gym like can go back to the gym and scan it, or they like look at it. I think that'd be a great idea.
Yep.
You could
Yep.
almost even make pamphlets and just if you get heavy into marketing that way, just send out like kind of like what the tournaments do. The tournaments send out like all the flyers.
Mm,
Maybe you could like kind of follow their thing. Like here's all the flyers, and then everybody gets a trophy wall checkout link.
it's not a bad idea too, like sponsored events or sponsored athletes.
Yeah, I like the product hustle. I really do. I like when I did the drop shipping. Once it started picking up, I was getting very excited. Like
Mm,
I loved like being able to like read the analytics, see what was working, see what was selling, and then like try to figure out how to expand and big. And then, like I said, drop shipping kind of went out during COVID, but like it was really cool getting. And then with the art thing, I had like prints and I was doing like kind of like my art prints, but on like these cool shorts, just like simple kind of Florida shorts,
mm-hmm.
like really comfy shorts, and that was selling,
Dude,
and
you
that
should do more
was
T-shirts. Your designs are good.
yeah. I mean, Andrew went through my website and got it indexing now,
Mm-hmm.
so now I just gotta. That's another thing. What I want to do, I know this is a lot we've talked about 100 times, but what I want to do is get back to the podcast. I just want like I would like content to build it around or a community. So like as like it's not just like posting pointless episodes. I want to make sure like those episodes and the people I talk to and their like stories and all that shit actually get to people's ears.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd love to have like some sort of like product link to it as well that like, the podcast somewhat stands for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. At this point, with how many fires I had, and like I told you, I think I got to the point where I put too many irons in the fire. And I think within the past like, I don't know, month or two, they all kind of like burnt me out. So I
Yeah.
hit this little burnout. I accidentally put myself in a burnout stage because it was almost like the anxiety of like, I want something, I want something, I want something. I need something going. I need to get something going. I need to see some sort of light. I need some sort of like relief. I need like the feeling you're getting now, like that you have a product that's working and how you got like the excitement and that hustle back. Like that's what I was searching for so badly that I was just everything. It was the woman in the red dress from that podcast. It
Yeah.
was like everything that popped up was like the new thing for me to go try. I'm like, maybe that, maybe that, maybe that. And I just hit some burnout.
Focus. You need
So
to focus. I think the problem also a lot of times is you're spreading yourself thin.
that's exactly what I did. And I kind of knew I was doing it, but at the same time, I wasn't sure anything was promising. So it was like, well, while I'm waiting on, I was a little bit out of my league on like a lot of stuff. So like with the app stuff, that's not my
Mm-hmm.
world. I don't know anything
Is that
about
still being
coding.
built?
Your guess is as good as mine,
I see.
brother.
I see what you're saying.
um, what's his name? Neo's got like some guys looking into it, but they're all on vacation. So it's like that's what would happen. It's like, oh, everyone's on vacation. I'm waiting for answers. I'm waiting for the next
Mm.
step. Okay, well, in that meantime, let me try this and see if there's anything. But yeah, so it's the lady in the red dress. That was a really good podcast. It was like almost like almost refocused me or like sometimes like at least for me like I know I'm doing the wrong thing, but for whatever reason I have to put the fork in the light socket to truly know I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. And it's
I'm pigeonholed in a corner too. That's the other thing.
yeah, I know. You got a job you really love and have a hard time leaving it.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, trophy wall is looking sick. I'm loving it. It's crazy. It's like legitimately a problem I ran into quite a few times where I'm like, oh, let me find a cool way to display my medals. And I like didn't even buy anything. I didn't even buy the best thing I found.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't have the urge. So now that like you came up with that, and it's probably gonna sound like I'm biased, but I think if I saw it on the internet, I would definitely after any achievement as well, like open, Naga, whatever,
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's like new
for
breed,
20 or 30 bucks and you hang it in your room. It's cool as shit. It's better than sitting in the sock drawer.
even for a $2 medal, huh?
It's kind of disappointing, man. I kind of don't like, and let me know how you feel about it, but I don't really like that stigma. Like, and this doesn't just go for jiu-jitsu competition. This is competition in like general. Like when I was fighting, it was like, uh, I would get a fight. I'd have like 2 or 3 months notice. Usually start amping up training for
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit. And then coming down that last month, you're getting into weight cutting.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of cutting weight, but you're trying to keep your energy up while you have no energy because I cut too much weight. I went from like, I walk around like 152 and fight 135 at the
Damn,
beginning.
that's low.
And those last 5 pounds would not come off of me.
That's why I fight up. Fuck that.
Yeah. Well, that's why in jiu-jitsu I don't cut weight. And that's why at purple belt when I competed, I did like a whole division up. Like
Mm-hmm.
I weighed in light for, well, not light, but like I did a weight above what I weighed, but I just didn't give a shit anymore. And actually, my last MMA fight, I didn't cut a lot of weight. Like I said, fuck it, I'm gonna fight 145s,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole nother 10 pounds. Think about that.
Yeah, it's a big
I was
difference
small.
actually. See,
I was
and
I was
most of
I,
those people are actually cutting down to it. They're probably like 165 and they're cutting down to 145, and you're
mhm.
like, fuck that, I'm fighting up.
Yeah, dude, I felt like death
It's
every time.
it's literally the same problem I have because I'm in between weights, so I walk around like 146, 147, and so I'm fighting to what is it, 154, I think, in the gi. So I'm like,
Yeah,
in the gi I weigh like 148, and then I'm fighting dudes that are like 154 in the gi, and they're cutting down. It's like everybody I've
yeah,
talked to in my division, they're like, yeah, man, I'm like 170, and I had to cut down 20 pounds. It's like, motherfucker, I'm literally like,
yeah. It's fucking bull. I'm with you on that because I walk around like 165 and 168 in the gi is like where I'm at.
mm-hmm,
And usually you get like usually for whatever reason, I don't know if it's nerves or whatever, but the day or two before, um, I don't know if it's because I get busy or slightly stressed or what, but usually like even if I'm like 165, 168, the day I walk into the tournament, I've lost weight.
yeah, it's
And
nerves for
usually,
sure.
nerves, and then you wake up and you don't really eat because you're like it's competition day, so you don't really like cram your face.
Yeah,
You don't think about chugging water or like so like you kind of fuck yourself a little bit on that front. But yeah, I remember like just the stress of like getting ready and knowing you have a fight or knowing you got a match or knowing you're doing a tournament. And like you said earlier, man, and that's been my mentality the whole time. Like you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner and you show up and you train, or even like a fighter, an MMA fighter. You show up and you train, you like to like I still like to get with MMA guys and like, you know, like go against the wall, or like you see Isaiah and I lately just been like kind of play slapping
yeah,
each
yeah,
other
yeah.
while like holding like I'm like holding them in positions and like pretending like I'm gonna hit them. Like I still like to do that, and I would still like to get back into like a little bit more MMA training
Mm-hmm.
just for fun. But there's a whole like once you like compete or taste competition, like there's a whole you understand there's a whole nother level and there's a whole nother like depth to it, and
It's not just technique. It's all like a lot of it is mental, man.
yeah, like yeah, for sure. Like there's a lot of people who are super technically sound, but like when it comes to the pressure, they can't handle that. Like they can't handle the anxiety, the adrenaline. The thought of them losing might stick in their head too much. The thought of them winning might stick in their head too much. The thought of like, what does everyone think of me, or everyone's watching me, or like, or stage fright, like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of shit might stick in their head a lot. And like, so just to deal with that, I think puts you on another level. Even people that I've seen that showed up and competed and got their ass kicked the first round and they're done and they're out. It's like, well, if you go back to the gym with like, man, that like, you either go back to the gym broken or stronger. So if you show back up, like, I feel like you're already a different, like, you're now almost like a competitor. Like,
And I feel that too. It's like anytime I come to train the week after a competition, my game is completely different. And then over time, I get more complacent, and I'm then like on the bottom, letting people just pass so I can work on my shit. But like the week after competition, I'm literally like pressing from the top.
no one talks about that, like, the week after you compete. Like, when you're like relieved and like all the stress is gone and now you know what you got to work on, and you've
Hmm.
gone to the gym and you face the music, or you got in the gym and face the glory, whatever it may be. But that whole week, like the competition, like, it's like almost like when you have heavy anxiety and it goes away and then you get that like relief, like stimulation. It's almost like that week turns super productive, at
Agreed.
least for me. And like no one talks about that's part of the reward as well. But um so for people to hate because of any kind of metal, like, fuck you. Plain and simple. I think it's
I
like you
agree.
said, you don't know people's ailments. Like Eric, bro, he's like blind and he's showing up to competitions and competing at every one of them.
He's doing a lot of them actually.
He has every reason
Yeah.
not to, and he shows up and does it. And if he framed an open metal or a Naga metal,
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I actually sent him a couple of mounts. I
oh,
hope he's
did
got
you?
them up on the wall, Eric. If you're listening, get them up.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, get him up and post him, bro. I want to see him because, but like, it's just, I don't know. I know it's just internet nerds and you can't like let it bother you. And that's one of the challenges that we kind of glance over is like, don't let it bother you. But
It's
I just
we.
wanted
It's weird. Like this whole consumer side is weird, man. Because it's like
haters everywhere.
you're dealing with individuals. You don't see a lot of that on the business side. You basically get feedback on the business side, but it's not public. It's feedback on a call, or it's feedback in an email. That they're not buying, for example, or that your price is too high, or that like there's a quality issue, or even things that are similar to what people are saying is just not public. Like nobody in a business to business transaction like goes on your wall and comments on your post saying your shit costs too much. It's very weird. Like this is literally the first time I'm seeing this because I've never really ran consumer product businesses. All the things I've done in the past have been B2B,
It's kind of funny.
which is actually another reason why I started this, because I'm like, I remember I even used to say to customers of mine that like, look, man, I don't envy you. It's a difficult business selling individual products. Like even though they're not sometimes selling individual products because they're dealing with like Target or Walmart or large
Mhm.
retailers, but the product is a consumer product, and so they're hearing this side of the world of people complaining about the price and the quality and the perception and the value proposition and all the things that they complain about publicly.
Mhm.
But now
Yeah.
here I am doing it myself.
Yeah, I mean, the world works in mysterious ways. They I did it today actually. Like I woke up and I was like running a little bit late. Instead of like cooking eggs like I normally do every morning, I fucking I ordered Fritas like
Hmm.
on the way to work, and like they have like a little sandwich, like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, and but they're all like organic and like homemade and all that stuff. So I rather pay a little bit extra for them than go through McDonald's or whatever and get fake stuff. So, but like to add on an extra egg because I wanted more eggs, it used to be like $1.
Mm-hmm.
Now they like up and charge $2.
Oh, dude, the eggs have been like crazy.
I know, but like I remember in my head it was funny because I still bought them, I still did it, but like driving there, I'm like, man, I almost want to go on Yelp and be like, $2 egg add on. Come on, bro. Like I can buy like half a carton with that. And but you know, then the inside of me was like, I don't think they'd up do it for no reason. You know what I mean? It's either they don't want to sell an extra egg or they have to upsell an extra egg like that. You know what I mean?
Correct. They either putting friction in the process to prevent them from doing the work they don't want to do,
Yes.
or it actually costs them all of a sudden more money now. Like I literally had the same thing today. I went to T Hive, the place where we get our gi
Yeah.
branded, because I wanted to buy a couple of T-shirts with the Trophy Wall logo, so I can wear
Okay.
them over at Pans and stuff. And so, I show up there and he's got like a couple of T-shirts in stock, and I'm literally buying two T-shirts with the logo on it, and they're like $35 each, and I'm like, motherfucker, that's so expensive. But then I realized that like he's gotta work my artwork, and he's gotta like print that shit out, and then it's only two T-shirts. It's like, yes, it's $34, but he's probably making $20 on this whole fucking thing. It's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. And then he sees me like hesitating and shit, and he's like, you can just like bring the T-shirts in, and I'll charge you $15, like the same cost I charge you um, for the geese. And I'm like, I thought about it for a second because it sounds great, instead of 70, I'm paying like 30 all of a sudden. But I'm like, I gotta go fucking figure out where to buy two T-shirts from that are blanks that I tried on, that the brand I know, and then I like them and I like the materials. I'm like, too much hassle. I'd rather pay $70 instead of 30 for two T-shirts, and I let them do it and let them make money as a small business.
Yeah, that's how sometimes I look at it too. Target's got some cheap T-shirts,
Yeah, but it's like I gotta leave that place and go to Target, and then I gotta go look at those T-shirts. Like, who the fuck is gonna do that?
and then turn around and go back to
I
where you
know,
were.
I know. And then like I,
And
I
then
always feel guilty because I'm gonna take advantage of them. I'd rather give them the $30 so they can like continue branding my geese long term. It's like they
yeah,
I want them to exist, because
right.
they're actually providing a service outside of these two T-shirts that I really like.
Unfortunately, I've been in the clothing industry quite a bit. Like that was like the second business I did, and that was the first. I broke even with that one because it was so much fucking work. Like it was like I remember it got to the point where I was like ordering it from China, and that was cool because there was no limits on anything. Like I
Mm.
could choose the material, any measurement on the shirt could be custom,
Mm-hmm.
any color, and you're up to like 4 in the morning bargaining because that's when they're up and running the most, or like the salespeople or whatever. And then like they always tell you their minimum order quantity, and then come to find out that's always negotiable too,
6 pieces per size,
something like
some
that.
shit like
Yeah,
that.
and then it's like, damn, I don't want to pay like because I got to set it up, and it's like $3,500, and then it shows up my front porch one day, and it's a big ass heavy box, and it takes like a month or two to get. Like, I'm like, it's so much work. So then I ended up going to like it's like a place called Going Postal. It was weird. It was like a post office with like a print shop,
Mm.
and but I had to drive like all the way down 66 to like St. Pete, and then go in the store and like show her the designs and get her like the vector artwork and everything, and then but she had all the material there, so I could like look at the shirts and do all that. But
They're still
dude, I
around?
remember I think so. They might be. But like she was super cool about it all, and she was like very laid back. But man, every step was like so much extra money, like just to get my own tags.
Yeah.
But I had like what you said, like she had to rip off tags and then print my tag on there.
Yeah, they're ripping
So
off the Gildan tags, and then they're like using a tiny iron to basically put their own little.
like
Yeah,
iron it all on and weed it out, like weed out the material, and like it was such like a bitch. So like I kind of understood, but man, that one. And then I had to go to eBoard and find all these like urban shops and like put my stuff on either consignment or like have deals with people. And
mm-hmm.
there was like so much effort to get in that industry that like it's like you said. And then you go through all that, and then people want an orange shirt, or if you have like a white and black shirt, they want gray.
They're like,
Or if you
"Fuck
got
you!
like
Your
black and
T-shirts are
gray,
too expensive. I can
yeah,
I can buy this shit at Walmart for like $3, and I can print my own iron-ons. It's a ripoff."
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just buy the printer paper and this, and I'll just iron it on
Well,
myself.
that's the difference. It's like you can't build a business that way, because once you start actually running your own business, regardless of what it is, you start understanding what it takes to build it, because there's like all these tiny details that nobody even thinks about. It's kind of like even running a jujitsu gym. It's like, yes, all the glory for being an instructor at a gym, but it's like somebody has to check the mail and somebody has to wash the mats, and then somebody has to fucking deal with a broken water fountain, and then you only get hot water in the shower, and then the shit's leaking, and it's like the camera system doesn't work, and there's all kinds of little tiny things that nobody's aware of. All they do is complain about $150 monthly fee that they have to pay.
Yeah, plumbing,
Right.
the shower, like whatever. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then at the same time, sometimes maybe you could handle those problems for the people who are paying $150. But yeah,
Maybe if we would have paid 180 instead of 150, those problems would have been handled.
I do pay 180.
It's also
Or
possible that you're underpaying and you're not appreciative of it. That could also be the lesson.
oh yeah, I'm just happy to have the mats. But I know what you're saying. There are those in the gym that like to, but you fix the water fountain and they're going to complain about the ceiling tiles. And you fix the ceiling tiles and they're going to bitch about the cubbies. They're going to. So it's almost like that's their purpose, is to find the thing to bitch about. And it's like, well, now I know what you're focused on.
Yeah, that's right. You just have to, all you have to do as a business owner is basically get enough of a sample set of proper feedback and realize when it's real and when it's not real. And exactly like what I put in the values, provide the pre, during, and after sale experience that people are happy about and willing to come back for. And that's really the magic. That's where the magic is.
By the way, we got a new water fountain today.
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
shit! I've been away for so long. I've got a new water
it's,
fountain.
it's already hooked up.
Is it working?
It looked like it was working when I left.
All right. Is it cold
The
water?
last one looked like it worked. I'm not gonna touch that thing for a few months. So I'll let y'all get all the check the filtration and stuff out yourselves.
You have to run those filters for like 10 minutes through the water because all the residue from the manufacturing process has to come out. I think it's part of the instructions.
That's what I was telling Thacker. That's why I was like, I'm not drinking. I barely ever use water fountains anyway. I usually come in with my own water,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll just go to 7-Eleven.
There you go.
But that's just me. Yeah, man. Well, the product's dope. Again, I say it, but it's really cool watching it build. Um, and you're actually building pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't think I'm building fast enough. It feels like
You probably always feel that
I
way.
always feel that way. Like to me, shit's never fast enough.
Dude, that's how I feel. I mean, this is just babbling on your podcast at this point, but that's the ideas I've had. A lot of the parts that a lot of things I've ran into is like trying to get shit done as soon as possible and then running into a wall that I'm not sure about. Like it's out of like my scope.
It's like tentacles into all these other problems. It's kind of like you
Yeah,
cut off
like
one head and like 10 more grow.
with like the app idea and stuff, it's like, okay, I'm either gonna have to shell out a lot of money to have it legitimately built, but then I don't even know where I'm gonna be when that's done, because like I'm sure it's not just like, oh, it's here it is and it's good forever. I'm sure there's gonna be a constant
Oh, for
maintenance.
sure. Not even a question. That's why I'm a fan of simplicity, man. It's like
Yeah,
I really like simplicity. And in fact, I don't like bottlenecks and I don't like me being the bottleneck.
bottlenecks. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of things that are complicated. I will try to boil it down to the simplest way possible, so I don't have to write an instruction manual for it. So it's like so intuitive that you don't have to fucking read pages of instructions.
Yeah, we were talking about that at work today, actually.
Part numbers.
Yeah, no, yeah, trying, but no. Just like businesses and like how, I mean, like the simple way to put it, man, is like, um, or at least in my head, like if you're building a business and you walk into like as much as they're pieces of dirt sometimes, but they got to be that way. That's just the nature of like a corporation. Like you walk into Target, or if you've ever worked for like a big corporate store, something like that, Target, Burlington, I don't know, Publix,
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. But here's the thing: is like it's all the same. It's like you go in, you spend 2 weeks training,
Yep.
and then you start doing.
Yeah.
And the person who's training you is sitting in a position that's so easy that like they can train you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like you can be trusted within 2 weeks. And I'm not saying like every job is easy. I'm just saying it's simplified. Like it's like, okay, you stand at this spot and this button, um the customer scans a barcode and then adds up. And this button's for credit cards, this button's for cash, this button's for this. If they have a gift card, you do this. If they accept the new Target Gold card, you hit like it's pretty simple. And
Yeah.
here's your bags and here's that. And if you need anything else, there's a guy right there within. Not a coincidence that guest services is always within the registers. Like that's planned. And or if you work like the stock area, you've got like a scanner and it tells you what's out. And then
Right.
you go back and you
Scan
know
the
what to grab.
code and
And
right.
then you know where to put it. And it's like, it's very like,
Well
the
thought out.
process. And there's a reason why all these companies are like that. So like, I think I can't help but to sit there and think like sometimes it's like, man, like if you're running a business and everything's running amok and you're always putting out fires, you know, maybe it's because the process and procedures aren't clear, or like there's a missing link. Maybe you're in a company that can't. Maybe there's too many variables. But like, how do you get as much control as possible? Like, I don't know. I always look at it as like, if this person leaves, how do I get another person in as quick as possible and up to speed?
Yeah. It's a sliding scale like anything,
Yeah,
because
it's tough.
and it's very nuanced, because on the one hand you want efficiency, right? On the other hand, too much efficiency is anti-human, because the ultimate efficiency is basically full automation. And so I like small business, but I like the big money, right? And so
Yeah,
and so you
that's
kind of
it's whole.
you kind of have to, like, if you're running basically a T-Mobile or AT&T or Walmart, you have to make it so structurally efficient that you you create cogs out of people, where they're like just there as part of an assembly process, quote unquote
Right.
assembly process, where then they come in and they just follow all the thought out systems that came before them and not deviate from it. And any personal complexity that's introduced in there is looked through the lens of inefficiency, you know? So it's a gift
Yeah,
and a curse, like everything else.
I get it. And it's very hard. It's easier said than done. It's really easy to sit there and come up with 100 solutions to things, right? And like you said before, when it's small, it's like riding a bike. Like you turn and you cut and you make corrections quick.
You're nimble and you're small and you're quick decision. It's like the larger you get, the more bureaucracy you need, because your decisions affect more people.
Yep.
And so you have to create efficiencies and red tape. That's why our government works the way it does. That's why that's why people complain about large companies being like slow and unwieldy, you know?
Hmm.
And small companies can sometimes come in and basically undercut large companies because they move much quicker, because one of them is a train and the other one is a motorcycle, you know?
Yeah, makes sense.
But again, there's a gift and a curse in each.
I just think that like, making spots efficient is beneficial.
It does.
You
But
know,
again, at what expense?
I don't know. Add some culture in it. Put some pizza parties out there.
I know.
Everything runs everything runs efficient and everyone's got a cog.
I know.
Then maybe you start doing community potlucks and
Congratulations. We
like
just hit $100 million in revenue. There's cupcakes in the cafeteria.
exactly.
Right.
Or like that's stupid. That's why they do that though. I mean, like
Oh, I know. I know.
Hawaiian shirt day. You
Or-
guys earned Hawaiian shirt day.
Yeah, it's Hawaiian. Right. Potluck day. Just make sure you wear things that are appropriate and doesn't offend anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I
Right.
mean, I get it. But like, so it's like, I guess I'm thinking about cutting the chaos. Yeah, chaos is chaotic.
Yeah.
Stress,
There's
burnout.
Yeah, the
Well, like you
idea
said,
the idea is to
there's
find
always
your personal path. It's like
there's
you have to figure out where you're the most comfortable and what basically hits all of your values and needs. Because there's plenty of people who make money running small businesses, and there's plenty of people who climb corporate ladders and have stock options. And it's like there's no right way. It's just what's right for you.
correct. Yep, I agree, man. And I think the mount is right for you.
Yeah, there's Gracie Baja and there's Supremacy. It's like I don't know which one's better. Just what's better for you.
Yeah, you just gotta try them all out, dude.
I know, I know.
How do you know vanilla is your favorite flavor if it's the only thing you've ever had?
That is true. However, if it comes with a side of cocaine, maybe you should stick with vanilla.
That's why I keep coming back to vanilla.
You know what I'm saying?
This cocaine keeps me going vanilla, dude.
Hell yeah.
I've had no reason to stop. I've also had no reason to not do vanilla.
That's right. Stick with vanilla.
Oh,
Never try, never fail. In the famous words of Homer Simpson.
yeah. I'll stay away from cocaine. I'll be cool never doing that.
There you go. I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah, yeah, man. This dog's acting weird. I'm like scared she's about to throw up or something.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure, like always.
Yes, sir. Thanks again.
Might see you
Send me
tomorrow.
this one so I can post it.
Oh hell yeah! I'll post it up and we'll tag you and you can post it. And
Get me on that affiliate process, or else I'm gonna tell everyone these mounts suck.
yeah, fuck yeah. We'll do. You'll get the special link. It'll be trophyworld.com
How
slash
long
slash
until that
slash
patent
homo.
hits? How long do I got till that patent hits? I might just start selling for $29.99
No, fuck yeah.
in 1999.
Yeah, 18.99. 18.99.
18.99 with $4 shipping.
Yeah, get a free $2 medal with every purchase.
Oh, dude, I can sell the $2 medals that can go. You should Photoshop. This is the last part. You could Photoshop a metal add-on, a $2 metal add-on, so you can buy the mount with a $2 medal.
That's pretty funny. We can just replicate Tampa Open medals and include those for free, already mounted. Call it the $2 metal mount. But it's not a $2 mount. It's a $2 metal mount. Still costs $20, regardless of how you slice it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
All
I'll
right.
catch you later.
Holla.